1931. Inside the bore of diversion tunnel number 2, Black Canyon, Nevada. The temperature is past 130 degrees Fahrenheit. A Caterpillar 60 crawler tractor sits dead in the darkness, its radiator boiled dry. The operator had climbed down. See, he could not breathe. 12 gasoline-powered machines running simultaneously had turned the 56-foot bore into a chamber of carbon monoxide. This was not an accident. It was the accumulation of a decision made months earlier. That machine, a Caterpillar 60, shows 20,500 pounds of gasoline-powered crawler, was the most capable earth-moving tool in North America in 1931. It was failing inside a tunnel it was never engineered to enter. To understand what a Caterpillar 60 was doing in the heart of Black Canyon and what it cost when it stopped, we have to go back to where this story actually begins. March 4th, 1931. 6 Companies Incorporated signs the largest single construction contract in United States history, $48.9 million to build a dam across the Colorado River at Black Canyon. Nothing like this had ever been attempted. The project demanded moving 3.7 million cubic yards of rock and placing 4.36 million cubic yards of concrete. So no single company in America held the capital or the equipment fleet to take that on alone. 6 companies brought together 6 firms: Utah Construction, Morrison Knudsen, Kaiser, Bechtel, Pacific Bridge, and McDonald & Kahn. Superintendent Frank Crowe, one of the most experienced dam builders in the country, took command of the field. Black Canyon's geology was the first problem. Walls of andesite and granite rose 800 feet above the river. Before a single yard of concrete could be placed, 4 massive diversion tunnels had to be blasted through those walls. The tunnels were designed to 56 feet in diameter, the largest bored in the world at that time. Each ran 3/4 of a mile through solid rock. Tunnel excavation began May 12, 1931 on the Arizona side. Caterpillar 60 crawler tractors were the primary earth-moving tools assigned to the Hoover Dam project. Caterpillar's own records confirmed 12 units deployed at the site. Each weighed 20,500 pounds and delivered 60 horsepower at the belt. The 60 had first appeared in 1919 as the CL Best 60 track layer. Then was rebranded after the 1925 merger that formed Caterpillar Tractor Company. By 1931, it was the most proven heavy crawler tractor in America. Its 4-cylinder gasoline engine displaced 1,128 cubic inches, running at 650 revolutions per minute. It generated a maximum drawbar pull of 12,360 pounds. Without hydraulic blade control, that raw tractive force was the machine's entire operational identity. If you want to see how these Caterpillar 60 tractors survived conditions that nearly broke them, here's what I ask. See that subscribe button? It's our exchange, your way of saying this reached you. Hit subscribe if this resonated, drop a like if it moved you, and tell us in the comments what you know about Hoover Dam and the machines that built it. It helps us share more stories like this. Back to the Caterpillar 60. Black Canyon in summer was unlike any environment Caterpillar's designers had tested for. Canyon floor temperatures regularly exceeded 120 degrees Fahrenheit. Solar radiation reflecting off the walls multiplied the heat load on every running engine. The 60's liquid-cooled radiator was marginal under normal field conditions. In the canyon, coolant temperatures spiked within minutes of sustained operation. Some operators read the radiator as carefully as they read the terrain ahead. Track rollers and idlers ran without sealed bearings. The abrasive andesite and granite of Black Canyon destroyed track components at rates no manufacturer had documented. Replacement parts had to be stockpiled on site just to maintain operational availability. The access roads cut into the canyon walls presented their own mechanical crisis. Maximum grades exceeded what the 60 could reliably descend with a loaded scraper. Operators developed unpublished downgrade techniques passed between shifts by word of mouth. The mechanical evolution of bulldozers, history's most punishing projects, and the technical details no one else covers. That's what lives in the membership section. Join, and you get full access to 20-plus minute deep dives built for people like you. Now back to the Caterpillar 60 at Black Canyon. Frank Crowe ran 3 shifts, 24 hours a day. Arc lights strung along the canyon walls and tunnel portals kept the 60 tractors moving through the night. The machine never clocked off, neither did the men who ran it. The diversion tunnels were the most critical item on the schedule. 6 companies faced financial penalties for every day they ran over deadline. As that pressure moved through the whole site, and it landed hardest on the crawler tractors. Inside the tunnel bore, the 60 pulled scraper pans to remove blasted rock from the invert floor. The confined geometry forced exhaust gases to pool near the base. Workers reported dizziness and nausea within the first hour of each machine cycle. Nevada state law prohibited gasoline-powered vehicles in underground mining operations. In 1931, the State Inspector of Mines notified 6 companies directly that continued tunnel use of gas equipment violated Nevada statute. 6 companies responded with lawyers and kept the machines running. The federal government entered the legal dispute on 6 companies' side. The U.S. Attorney's Office argued that as a federal project, Nevada mining law did not apply. By the time courts ruled, the tunnel excavation was nearly complete. Meanwhile, field mechanics began modifying the Caterpillar 60 exhaust systems in place. Extended exhaust stacks were fabricated and fitted to redirect fumes upward toward ventilation openings cut into the tunnel crown. There was no manual for this. There was no time to write one. The modifications reduced the CO concentration but did not eliminate it. Workers on the invert scraper runs still carried the highest exposure. 42 deaths at the project were officially classified as pneumonia, a diagnosis many surviving workers disputed for the rest of their lives. The 60's open operator station provided no protection in that environment. No cab, no filter. The operator sat fully exposed to exhaust, heat, and rock dust with nothing between himself and the tunnel atmosphere. Endurance was the only defense available. Despite the conditions, the tunnel bore advanced steadily. Frank Crowe's drilling jumbos, 4 platform rigs mounted on trucks, carrying 30 rock drills simultaneously, kept the blast face moving 15 feet per cycle. The 60 cleared each muck pile after every shot. By September 1931, all 4 tunnel excavations were simultaneously active. 2 on the Nevada side, 2 on the Arizona side. The rock being cleared was among the most abrasive crystalline material a steel crawler track could encounter in field operation. Track pad life in Black Canyon dropped to a fraction of normal field expectations. Sharp-edged quartz fragments in the blasted granite acted as cutting media against steel track links. Mechanics rotated undercarriage components faster than the supply chain could deliver replacements. Caterpillar's engineers had never designed the 60 for sustained tunnel operation. Its cooling system was calibrated for open-air field use. In the confined tunnel bore with a restricted airflow, the engine approached its thermal limit within 20 minutes of sustained work. Operators developed an unofficial work cycle. Run hard for 20 minutes inside the bore, then idle the machine at the tunnel portal for temperature recovery. No Caterpillar service manual contained this procedure. It was field knowledge passed on shift handovers in plain speech. The canyon's isolation compounded every mechanical failure. The nearest Caterpillar dealer capable of major component work was hundreds of miles away. What could not be fabricated or fixed on site simply grounded the machine until parts arrived by rail. A 22.7-mile branch railroad had been built from Las Vegas specifically to supply the dam site. Heavy components for the 60 fleet, engine blocks, track assemblies, radiator cores arrived by rail and descended to the canyon floor by cable and truck. By November 1932, the excavation was complete. A temporary cofferdam was detonated on November 13th, and the Colorado River was forced into the 2 Arizona diversion tunnels for the first time in its history. The canyon went quiet in a way it never had before. If these stories mean something to you, take a look at the thanks button below this video. It's a small gesture, but it's the most direct way to say you want more of this. Let's continue with the Caterpillar 60 and Black Canyon. All with the river diverted, excavation of the dam foundation began immediately. The 60 tractors shifted from tunnel support to canyon floor grading and debris clearing. The machines that had nearly failed underground now worked under open desert sky. The bedrock foundation had to be perfectly clean before any concrete could be placed. A high-pressure water jet stripped residual material from the rock surface. The 60 tractors hauled the loosened spoil away from the excavation zone in continuous runs. Summer 1932 brought the same canyon conditions that had broken equipment and men the year before, but operators had 12 months of hard experience behind them now. They managed the 60 tractors with an efficiency that the first season could not have produced. The first concrete pour at the dam base began in June 1933. By that point, the Caterpillar 60 fleet had been in continuous site service for over 2 years. Though their excavation work had cleared and prepared the foundation on which the entire dam would stand. Caterpillar's own records confirm 12 Caterpillar 60 tractors working the Hoover Dam project. Their documented role in the diversion tunnels placed them in conditions no tractor manufacturer had planned for. The machine survived because experienced operators refused to let them fail. The Caterpillar 60 had been engineered for open valley farming and road building. At Black Canyon, it pulled scrapers through blasted granite tunnels at 130 degrees Fahrenheit on gasoline with no sealed bearings and no cab. And it did not stop. The failures witnessed at Black Canyon fed directly into Caterpillar's next engineering generation. The diesel-powered RD-8 arrived in 1935 with a 6-cylinder diesel engine producing 110 horsepower. The Canyon had served as the most brutal corporate testbed in Caterpillar's history. Some 96 official fatalities were recorded during Hoover Dam's construction. The 42 workers classified as pneumonia deaths, most of them tunnel workers operating near the 60 tractors, remained a contested record. The machines and the men breathed the same air. Hoover Dam was completed in 1935, 2 years ahead of schedule. Frank Crowe's around-the-clock machine operations, including the 12 Caterpillar 60 tractors driving the tunnel and foundation phases, had compressed the project timeline beyond what the contract had projected. First hydroelectric power came online in October 1936. The dam stood 726 feet high and 1,244 feet long at the crest. It had been excavated by gasoline-powered crawler tractors in one of the harshest canyon environments on the continent. The Caterpillar 60's production run had ended in 1931, as the same year Black Canyon work began. While the last units left the Peoria, Illinois plant as the first were descending the access roads into the canyon. Production end and operational frontier arrived simultaneously. All 18,948 Caterpillar 60 tractors built between 1919 and 1931 helped define what a crawler tractor was expected to endure. While Hoover Dam was the hardest version of that expectation, Black Canyon is where the machine found its absolute limits and held them. The machines that survived from that era are now in museum collections and private restorations. A 1927 Caterpillar 60 is preserved in the Queensland Museum in Australia. While the specific units that worked Black Canyon are gone, worn to their component parts in the desert heat. What they left behind is permanent. The foundation, the tunnels, the dam, Lake Mead, 110 miles of reservoir behind 726 feet of concrete. Charlotte Caterpillar 60 helped clear the ground beneath every cubic yard of it. The Caterpillar 60 worked Black Canyon until the task was complete. Then it was replaced, worn out, and eventually forgotten. But Hoover Dam still stands. If this story moved you, please like and subscribe. Your support helps us preserve these machines and the histories behind them. Tell us in the comments where you're watching from.